word. Okay, that's great. So we are continuing with the chapter 4 of Chaitanya Charitamrita, the confidential reasons for Lord's appearance. And today we start with text 29. Are there any questions from last week? If not, that's okay. We can start with text 29. Everybody has book or online? Mo Vishaya Gopi Ganer Upapati Bhave Yoga Maya Karibek Apana Prabhave. Translation. The influence of Yoga Maya will inspire the gopis with the sentiment that I am their paramour. Purport. Who wants to read the purport?
I can read, Prabhuji.
Please go ahead.
Purport. Yog Maya is the name of eternal potency that makes the Lord forget himself and became an object of love for his pure devotee in different transcendental mellows. This Yog Maya potency creates a spiritual sentiment in the minds of the themselves of Brija by which they think of Lord Krishna as their paramour. This sentiment is never to be compared to mundane illicit sexual love. It is nothing to do with the sexually physiology, although the pure love of such devotee seems to be sexual. One should know for certain that nothing can exist in the cosmic manifestation that has no real counterpart in the spiritual field. All material manifestations are emanations of the transcendence. The erotic principles of amorous love reflected in the mixed material values are perverted reflection of the reality of spirit. But one cannot understand the reality unless one is sufficiently educated in the spiritual sense.
Thank you, Prabhu. So, very interesting point being made that we know that there are three potencies, main potencies of Krishna. What are they? Anybody knows? The three
external potency, internal potency, and marginal potency.
Right. So
yes.
Here we're talking about the internal potency, whose name is Yogamaya. But here's the very interesting fact. He says Yogamaya makes the Lord forget himself. So Yogamaya has been given the power by Krishna to make him forget that he's God. Because suppose that did not happen, then what are some of the pastimes Krishna would not do? If he remembered his God, what are some of the pastimes that Krishna would not do? Any thoughts?
Stealing the butter.
Stealing the butter is one. What
Eating
else?
soil
Yeah.
eating.
Umadia, absolutely.
Damodar Lila wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, that's right also. Yes. So many, many pastimes. As a matter of fact, many of the Vrindavan pastimes do not happen in Golok Vrindavan.
Oh.
Why is that? Any thoughts?
Yeah.
Well, Krishna doesn't.
Go ahead, Mataji.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, it's okay. Go ahead, Prabhu. Please go ahead.
So in a Vrindavan, Krishna is a baby born, but in a Golok Vrindavan, he is always Kishore, stage,
Correct.
16 years. That's the one reason.
That's probably the main reason. Because there's no appearance pastime, there's no crawling pastime, there's no getting scared of thunder of the sky pastime, there's no pastime of any demons trying to attack him. Of course, there's no pastime of stealing. So all those pastimes that happened, they do not happen in Golok Vrindavan because it's always Nitya Kishore Kishore, almost 16 years old. So that's one point to be understood. The second point is that if he always remembered that he's God, and if everybody in Vrindavan thought he was God, then again, there's some other pastimes that will not happen. One Rajan Prabhu gave the example of Damodar Lila will not happen if Yashoda is God. Then another example is being given here in this purport that the gopis would not think he's their paramour, their lover, because if he's God, then you just respect him and worship him in reverence. You don't think of him as your lover if you think he is God. So, but then a special version of lover, which is gopis are thinking, I'm not married to him, yet I love him. Okay, I'm not married to him, yet I love him. And that's called parakiya bhav, as opposed to swakiya bhav, which is husband and wife. Parakiya bhav is married to somebody else, but loving somebody else other than the husband. And obviously, that would be a horrible and abominable thing to do in the material world. So nobody's recommending that. But the spiritual world is allowed. So what's the main reason why it's allowed in the spiritual world but not in the material world?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanvatanam, all this to Srila Prabhupada.
Yeah.
It is because Yog Maya is not acting there. So we are not under the influence of the modes there.
Of the
I said we are not under the influence of the three modes of material nature.
in Golok Vrindavan Dham, that is correct. But I'm not sure I'm relating that to the question. So help me understand again.
Like even though there is a Parakiya Bhav
Mhm.
and somebody is loving Krishna without being married to him, but it's not the sexually oriented love. It's just heart to
Okay,
heart connection.
I think you're going to the right place, but this particular expression I'm looking for, which is the difference between Golok Vrindavan and material world.
Prabhu, is it because they are doing that for the pleasure of Krishna?
Yes, Prabhu, exactly. So every time we do something only for the pleasure of Krishna, not our, it becomes pure. And it's called love. Anytime we do something for our satisfaction, it becomes calm, lust. So there's a verse that I think we covered already in Chaitanya Charitamrita. It says, Atmendriya Priti Vancha, Tare Bole Ka. Krishnendriya Priti Vancha, Sahi Dhare Premna. So when we're doing something for our satisfaction, that's calm, lust. And that's not allowed. But when you're doing something for the pleasure of Krishna only, that's called love, prem, and that is allowed. So in Golok Vrindavan, as well as here, when Krishna is having his pastimes, all the ones are doing anything and everything only for the pleasure of Krishna, and therefore it's pure. Now, those of you who read Bhagavad Gita may remember chapter 15, text 1. It says, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Urdhumulam Adhashakha Ashwatham Prahur Avyayam. It says, there's a tree, a banyan tree, which is hanging upside down. Its roots are up and the branches are down. And that is basically reflecting the material world. So in the spiritual world, the tree is standing straight, upside up, whereas in the material world, that same tree is upside down. So therefore, everything becomes a perverted reflection of what's in the spiritual world. Because the reason is that's important to understand is that nothing in the material world can exist unless it already exists in the spiritual world. So that's one point we have to remember always. The problem is that when it's reflected in the material world, it becomes perverted reflection. So what's good becomes bad. So what's supposed to be for Krishna's pleasure becomes for our pleasure. We're supposed to consider Krishna the supreme controller, supreme proprietor, supreme enjoyer. We think, no, that's us. We are the supreme controller, supreme enjoyer. And that's what makes it perverted. So just like if you imagine a tree being reflected in a river, you can see the whole tree, you can see the fruits, you can see the branches, you can see the leaves in the water, correct? But if you jump in the water to catch fruit, will you catch it?
No.
No, because
It is in the
It's
water,
just
it is in the material world.
no.
just
This is
reflection.
because this is a
It's just a
reflection only.
reflection. Correct.
Reflection.
So the real thing is not there.
Yeah.
And the taste is only in the real thing. So therefore, because we're looking at reflection of the real thing in the material world, nothing has taste.
Mm.
That's why we're looking for happiness here. We don't find it because that's why we're looking for taste, but the real taste is not there. So is that clear?
Yep.
Yes,
That's
Prabhuji.
what's being said here, that the gopis are inspired to think that we are the lovers of Krishna. Krishna is our lover, although we are married to somebody else. And Krishna is inspired by the Yoga Maya to think he's not God. And therefore it's okay. So is that clear? It's a very important concept. So I want to make sure everybody understands. Okay. Let's do 30 then.
Prabhuji, one question, please.
Bol.
Okay, so here we practice Parkiya Bhav.
Sorry, say again?
I said we are in Parkiya Bhav here as well. Like
Well,
this
that's
is what we practice?
called adultery here. When we do that, it's called adultery. It's called not being faithful to your husband. Those are all not allowed. So here is supposed to be strictly Swakiya Bhav, but you know and I know that doesn't happen all the time. Happens most of the time, but there are people who have affairs with somebody else's wife or husband. So that Parkiya Bhav is not allowed.
In material world.
And you're talking about material world, yeah. You asked for the material world, right?
So in spiritual world, what is the relationship like?
Yeah, so there are gopis who are married to somebody else, but everybody, including them, loves Krishna. But it's because they're not looking for their pleasure, it's not perverted. In Goloka Vrindavan Dham, spiritual, everybody's focused on pleasing Krishna. And therefore it's okay. When we become focused on pleasing ourselves, it becomes not okay. So take another example. Krishna stole butter from the houses of the gopis. But was he doing it for his own taste and pleasure?
No.
No, he was doing it for the pleasure of the gopis from whose house he would steal. Because
Yep.
those gopis would cry if he did not steal from their house. They'd become envious of the gopi whose house he stole from. They said and cry, what did I do wrong? Why did he not come to our house? So they wanted him to. They want to see the pastime of him stealing and trying not to get caught and all those kind of things. They loved it. They just enjoyed it. That's why he was doing it. Give them pleasure. Okay? Any other question?
So Prabhuji, so the gopis and all the gopas are doing it for Krishna's pleasure,
Correct.
and Krishna is doing it for their pleasure.
Well, yeah, Krishna is always mutually reciprocating. So he gets his pleasure from giving pleasure to the devotee. And that's why he says that I want to come to the material world to enjoy these mellows with my pure devotees. He declares that. He said, I have no other reason. I said, I don't want to kill the demons. Actually, when I come here, I don't kill the demons. Vishnu in me kills the demons. We'll talk about that later. He said, I'm not coming here to kill the demons. I'm not coming here to manage the affairs. That's somebody else's job. Let Vishnu do that. I'm just here to have fun. We did another verse before. Say this, Niri asked Father to just taste that mellow. He's coming. That mellow of 4 mellows with the pure devotees. He said, I'm coming for that, not for anything else.
Okay.
Okay. That's a very good question. It's very important we all remember that. Krishna is not coming here to kill anybody. He may have said Yada Yada Dharmasya Pritara Sadhunam, but that's all Vishnu. That's not him. He didn't kill a single demon when he was here, by the way. And that's confusing. He asked me.
Yeah. What do you mean?
I saw your expression. Okay. So Krishna, does everybody agree Krishna is the source of all incarnations? Does everybody agree with that?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Yes.
So Krishna is called Avatari,
Avatar.
and everybody else is Avatar. Everybody agree with that?
Yes.
Yeah.
That means all the incarnations coming from him. So therefore, when he appears himself, all the avatars appear with him in him. So Lord Vishnu is there, Lord Ram is there, Nrsimhadev is there, everybody is there in him.
Yep.
And he engages Lord Vishnu to do the killing. He says, you do all that. I'm not interested. So it may appear he's doing it, but it's not him. Okay?
Why is that important, Prabhu? Like, why is it important to highlight that it's Vishnu who's doing it and not Krishna?
Because we have to understand the mood of Krishna. If you want to love somebody, you have to understand their mood. How can you love somebody properly if you don't understand their mood? So let me give you another example. Somebody is in a very bad mood, for example, and he's just showing all your affection. I think you get yelled at. But he's in a bad mood. Take another example, slightly different. Somebody doesn't like Karela, and you feed him a lot of Karela. What's he going to do? Not like you. Somebody has diabetes, you feed him a lot of rasgullas. He won't like that. So you have to understand what the person you love wants. That's why it's so important. I'll give you another example. There's a group of people in Bengal, they call Gaur Nagaris. Now, who's Lord Chaitanya?
Gauranga.
No, who's Lord Chaitanya? In Tattva. Who's Lord Chaitanya in
Is-
Tattva?
Vishnu Tattva.
I'm sorry?
Vishnu Tattva.
Oh, no.
Okay, I'm looking for something more than that. I mean, we have been studying this, so we should know the answer. Who's Chaitanya?
Isn't he Krishna in the mood of Radharani?
Thank you. Is Krishna in the mood of Radharani. So who does Lord Chaitanya think he is? Krishna or Radha?
Radha.
Radha. Exactly. So his mood is I'm Radha. And I'm serving Krishna. Everybody agree with me?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. This group of people called Gaur Nagaris, they insist, no Lord Chaitanya, you're Krishna. And we are gopis, we are going to serve you as gopis. Do you think he's going to like that?
No.
Why?
Because he himself is thinking that he is Radha and he is actually there to feel that what Radharani used to feel for him.
Right. So you're
Yes.
disturbing his mood. He's in the mood of Radharani, trying to love Krishna, and saying, no, you're Krishna yourself. I'm going to love you as Radharani. Well, you're disturbing his mood. He's not going to be happy. So do you get the point that I'm trying to make here?
Yes.
Yes.
So Krishna is only coming to please his devotees.
Yeah. And so again, this chapter will tell you all that. We'll discuss all that in this chapter.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Okay. Let's move to...
Even
I'm sorry.
Prabhu, when he came to even kill, apparently he killed the demons, but in other words, he actually fulfilled his devotees' wish. Putna actually wanted to be in the previous Janmas, wanted him to be his mother, so he fulfilled her wish actually.
Yeah, okay, but
And-
don't get confused. Still is Vishnu killing. He did not kill Putana. You're talking about the background of the story, that's fine, but it's not Krishna who's killing. He didn't kill anybody. The Vishnu in him killed. Okay? Okay, text 30. Ami na janita ha na jane gopi gan, duhar rup gune duhar nitya hare man. Translation. Neither the gopis nor I shall notice this, for our minds will always be entranced by one another's beauty and qualities. So somebody was asking, is Krishna enjoying it? Well, it says clearly, Krishna is enjoying their beauty and qualities very much, just as much as they are enjoying his. Okay, let's do the purport. Somebody start, please.
I will read Prabhuji.
Please go ahead, Radhavnath Prabhu.
Yeah, in the spiritual sky, the Vaikuntha planets are predominated by Narayana. His devotees have the same features he does. and the exchange of devotion there is on the platform of reverence. But above all, these Vaikuntha planets is a Goloka, our Krishna Loka, where the original personality of Godhead, Krishna, fully manifests his pleasure potential in free, loving affairs. Since the devotees in the material world know almost nothing about this affair, the Lord desires to show these affairs to them. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Okay, so now here they're contrasting Vaikuntha planets and Goloka planets. In Vaikuntha planet, the predominating god is Lord Narayan. And what's Lord Narayan's form? Four-handed, carrying club, disc, lotus flower, and mace. All his servants look like him in Vaikuntha Loka. And they serve him in the mood of awe and loveliness. But in Golok, Krishna looks in Shyam Sundar form. There's no other form in Goloka. Shyam Sundar form. 200 playing the flute. And he fully manifests his pleasure potency, the Ahladni Shakti. In other words, again, he's simply interested in enjoying, in free loving affairs. Okay. Again, because in the material world, people just don't know about that. So Krishna says another reason I'll come down is to show people in the material world what true pure love is. And there's nobody purer than the gopis of Vrindavan. Therefore, I'll show to the people how the gopis love me and how I reciprocate. Okay? That's another very main reason Krishna appears. He's not only wants to enjoy that pleasure, he wants to show us how to love him in that mood. Okay? Let's do the next paragraph. Any
I
volunteer?
can read, Prabhuji.
Please go ahead. Mohit.
Goloka Vrindavan, there is an exchange of love known as Parakriya Rasa. It is something like the attraction of a married woman for a man other than her husband. In the material world, this sort of relationship is most abominable because it is a perverted reflection of Parakriya Rasa in the spiritual world, where it is the highest kind of loving affair. Such feelings between the devotee and the Lord are presented by the influence of Yog Maya. The Bhagavad Gita states that devotees of the highest grade are under the care of Devya Maya or Yog Maya, Mahatmanas tu mam partha devam prakritim asritaha. Those who are actually great souls, Mahatmas, are fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness, always engaged in the service of the Lord. They are under the care of Devya Prakriti or Yog Maya. Yog Maya creates a situation in which the devotee is prepared to transgress all regulated principles simply to love Krishna. A devotee naturally does not like to transgress the laws of reverence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But by the influence of Yog Maya, he is prepared to do anything to love the Supreme Lord better.
Right. Thank you, bro. So we explained the Parkiya Ras already. And we talked about how in the material world that would become a perverted reflection. And therefore it's not allowed. But here's the main point being made. It's quoting 913 Bhagavad Gita. Mahatmanastu mam partha devim prakritim ashita. The great souls, the pure devotees, are completely under the shelter of Yoga Maya. So when they're completely under the shelter of Yoga Maya, that means they're always absorbed in Krishna consciousness. Man mana bhav madbhakto madhyaji mamnos. Man mana, they're always man mana, constantly absorbed in the thoughts of Krishna. They can't think of anything other than Krishna. And therefore, they're always engaged in his service under the care of Yoga Maya. Now, there is a 1866 says, Sab dhamane parityajya mamekam sharanam bhaja. That means give up all sorts of religion, religious principles, social religion, varnashram, any other kind of religion or practices you can think of, Krishna is saying, give them all up and simply surrender to me. So that's what these devotees are doing. They say, we don't care about the customs, the social customs, religious customs, or anything else. We don't care about the social laws, society laws, all those kind of things. We're just going to love Krishna and we do anything for him. So therefore, they're willing to transgress all the laws, all sorts of laws, simply to love Krishna. Now, generally speaking, the devotees would be conscious of their social obligations also. But Yoga Maya takes them under her care and influences them to start thinking about all that. And their state becomes, like there was a very nice Bollywood song, Amma Ruthe Ya Baba, Maine To Haan Kar Di. I don't care if my parents get angry or neighbors get angry, I said yes to my lover. And the gopis are saying same thing. My husband can get angry, my mother-in-law can get angry, society can reject me, but Krishna is playing his flute, he's calling me by name, I'm going. And 3 billion gopis showed up in the middle of the night. And that's what's talking about. That's the influence of Yoga Maya upon these gopis and upon actually any pure devotees. Okay? Any questions on that?
So, Prabhuji, does that happen here in this world too?
Sure it does. Not to everybody, but there are pure devotees upon which it happens.
But this can be misconstrued, right? And people can think, I'm in this.
No, hold on. Those who are under the influence of Yoga Maya, they do not go around advertising, hey, look at me, I'm under the influence of Yoga Maya. So there's no problem with that. They're not advertising,
Okay.
right? If anything, they're hiding. As a matter of fact, there's a verse that I can't remember right now, but it says one should try very hard to hide their bhakti.
Yep.
So when people go around, bragging, oh, I'm chanting 32 rounds, oh, I'm chanting 64 rounds, oh, I'm doing 6 artis, I'm doing this and that. That is bad. When you brag like that, you actually lose whatever you have. So we have to be very careful.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't go around saying PD, pure devotee, on the forehead. Say, hey, look at me. Now everybody give me respect. It doesn't work that way. Okay. All right. Let's do the next paragraph. Who's the pure soul who wants to read it?
I can read, Prabhu.
Go ahead, Prabhu. Go ahead. we declare you PD, Prabhu. Yeah, from now on, you're PD.
I wanted to read it. I didn't realize the question.
It's okay, Prabhu. Go ahead.
Those under the spell of the material energy cannot at all appreciate the activities of Yoga Maya. For a conditioned soul can hardly understand the pure reciprocation between the Lord and his devotee. But by executing devotional service under the regulative principles, one can become very highly elevated and then begin to appreciate the dealings of pure love under the management of Yoga Maya.
Yeah. So I think this is what we were discussing just before we read this paragraph, that people in the world will not understand the actions of a pure devotee. In Charitamrita later on, we'll read a verse that says, Vaishnavare Kriya Mudra Vijjana Budhai. Even the most intelligent people cannot understand the activities and the mood of a pure devotee. And as a matter of fact, there's a very interesting story about Raman Rai. After he met Lord Chaitanya in the bank of Godavari River, he quit his job and he moved to Jagannath Puri to be with Lord Chaitanya. And there, one of his duties was to dress the Devdasis. Now, Devdasis are 13, 14-year-old young girls who dance for Lord Jagannath. So his job was to dress them. And people started criticizing. Because why this old, dirty old man, dressing up young girls? But they didn't understand that. Who's Raman Rai? Anybody knows? Who's Raman Rai? In his Krishna Lila. One of the Sakhis. Anyway, Lalita Sakhi. So Lalita Sakhi is female. His mindset is female. He's working with them as a female Lalita Sakhi. So there's no perverted thing there. He's not enjoying watching them. He's in that mood of Lalita Sakhi, just dressing them up. But general people will not understand. So they're criticized. And that's the point being made. The activities, the mood of the pure devotees is something between Yogamaya and them, or Krishna and them. Other people will not understand. And that's why you hide it. Okay? When people saying, oh, Krishna came to my dream last night, he spoke with me for 30 minutes. Give me a break, you know? So anyway, next paragraph, please somebody read it.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I can read.
Shalini Mataji, please go ahead.
In the spiritual loving sentiment induced by the Yogamaya potency, both Lord Sri Krishna and the damsels of Vraja forget themselves in spiritual rapture. By the influence of such forgetfulness, the attractive beauty of the gopis plays a predominant part in the transcendental satisfaction of the Lord, who has nothing to do with mundane sex. Because spiritual love of Godhead is above everything mundane, the gopis superficially seem to transgress the codes of mundane morality. This perpetually puzzles mundane moralists. Therefore, Yogamaya acts to cover the Lord and his pastimes from the eyes of mundaners, as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 7.25, where the Lord says he reserves the right of not being exposed to everyone.
Right. Thank you, Mataji. So 7.25 is Naham Prakasha Sarvasya, Yogamaya Samavritam. Mudho Yamna Abhijanati, Loko Mam Ajam Abhyayam. Krishna is saying, I hide myself under the cover of Yogamaya from these fools, rascals. But they will not understand. They will not understand that I am the unborn, inexhaustible owner of everything. Right? They will not understand the mood in which they are having these pastimes. They'll, it's like they say, you look at everything from the lenses you're wearing. So if you're wearing red colored glasses, everything in the world looks red. But it's not so. Only when you take the glasses off, you see all the natural colors. So similarly, us mundane people have this perverted mind. So we look at everything through perverted lenses. We cannot accept that a relationship may be pure. So therefore, he's saying that Yogamaya therefore covers the Lord's and his activities from the mundane people so that this problem will not occur. Okay? Krishna is transcendental even in the sense of being above anything mundane. So no mundane rules, no mundane perversion, nothing. Okay? All right. Next paragraph, please.
I can read it, Prabhuji.
Please go ahead.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, go ahead.
The act of Yogamaya make it possible for the Lord and the gopis, in loving ecstasy, to sometimes meet and sometimes separate. These transcendental loving affairs of the Lord are unimaginable to empiricists involved in the impersonal feature of the absolute truth. Therefore, the Lord himself appeared before the mundaners to bestow upon them the highest form of spiritual realization and also personally relish its essence. The Lord is so merciful that he himself descended to take the fallen soul back home to the kingdom of Godhead, where the erotic principles of Godhead are eternally relished in their real form, distinct from the perverted sexual love so much adored and indulged in by the fallen soul in their diseased condition. The reason the Lord displays the Ras Lila is essentially to induce all the fallen souls to give up their diseased morality and religiosity and to attract themselves to the kingdom of God to enjoy the reality. A person who actually understands what the Ras Lila is will certainly hate to indulge in mundane sex life. For the realized soul, hearing the Lord's Ras Lila through the proper channel will result in complete abstinence from the material sexual pleasure.
Thank you. So the last line in this paragraph is telling us that the Lord's pastimes are so pure and purifying that simply hearing the details of Ras Lila, we become pure. And all the pervertedness disappears from our heart. So that's one point. Second point is the Lord is appearing here for multiple reasons. But one of the reasons also to reclaim us fallen souls who are his children. Our Father Krishna is looking at us and saying, I can't believe how much my children are suffering. And not for 1 or 2 years, for eternity they've been suffering, right from the beginning. And they keep on suffering, and if I don't do anything, they'll keep on suffering till eternity. It breaks his heart. He says, I have to do something. So tell me, what are some of the things that Krishna does other than appearing himself? Because we could talk about that. So that's what I'm going to answer. Other than appearing himself, what are some of the things Krishna does to reclaim us, the fallen souls, so we can go back home to Godhead?
Send his representative like Prabhupada came here.
Absolutely, absolutely. What else?
Allows
Provided
us to serve.
scriptures.
Scriptures, absolutely right. Yes, I'm sorry, what's that?
Allows us to serve him.
Allows us to serve him, absolutely. In what form? How do we serve him?
Deities.
As a sadhaka.
Deities is one. Of course, chanting his names also. So Nam Roop. So we serve him either his holy name or his deity form, but he appears in both forms. Right? So we can serve him. Right? And when it comes as himself or his incarnations, how much difficulty does he have in the material world? I mean, let's look at Krishna's. Can everyone just mute yourself, please? Let's talk about how much difficulty Krishna had when he came to this material world. On the day of birth, he was separated from his parents.
Yep.
6 days old, what happened?
Putana.
Putana came.
Mm.
3 months old, Shaktasur came. 1 year old, Trinavarta came. And then every day after breakfast, before lunch, one demon came. Then he was forced to separate himself from all these gopis and the gopas that he loved so much. Went to Mathura.
Mm.
Right? And then went to Dwarka. In Dwarka, he was accused of stealing Sevantak money. The proprietor of everything that exists anywhere in the material world or the spiritual world was accused of stealing. Excuse me. He came with Lord Ram. What happened? He got exiled 14 years in the forest, and his wife got kidnapped. Like, horrible. This God himself. But he's saying, it's okay, I'll take all the troubles. In Brahma Samhita, when Lord Brahma is describing Golok Vrindavan, he say, Chintamani prakar sadna kalp rakshita vishi. Surabhi abhipaliyantam. Lakshmi sahastra sat sevyamanam. Sambhram sevyamanam. Thousands, hundreds of thousands of Lakshmis are serving him all the time. And he leaves all that luxury. Nobody's disturbing him to come here for us. And we don't appreciate it. So here in the particular, he's saying he loves us so much, comes down. And then he does his pastimes with the gopis to put some akal in our head, some gray matter, that look, this is how you're supposed to love me. This is what a real relationship between the devotee and the Lord is supposed to be. So learn from my pastimes. And then, of course, later on, he realized that just showing them is not enough. I have to do it myself so they can practice doing it. He came as Lord Chaitanya to become a devotee. Now, as Chaitanya shows how a devotee should behave. Okay, is that clear?
Yep.
Okay, then we go to 31.
Very interesting.
Yeah, sure is. धर्म छाड़ी रागे दुहे करे मिलन कभू मिले कभू न मिले दैवेर घटन. Another very interesting concept. Translation: pure attachment will unite us even at the expense of moral and religious duties. Dharma. Destiny will sometimes bring us together and sometimes separate us. So Krishna is saying, I'll actually come under the control of destiny. Again, the influence of Yoga Maya. So let's read the purport. Who wants to read the first paragraph?
I'll try, Prabhu.
Please go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
The gopis came out to meet Krishna in the dead of night when they heard the sound of his flute. Srila Rupa Goswami has accordingly composed a nice verse, Adi Lila, Adi 5.224, that describes the beautiful boy called Govinda standing by the bank of Yamuna with his flute to his lips in the shining moonlight. Those who want to enjoy life in materialistic way of society, friendship and love should not go to the Yamuna to see the form of Govinda. The sound of Lord Krishna's flute is so sweet that it has made the gopis forget all about their relationships with their kinsmen and flee to Krishna in the dead of night.
Yeah. So this is again the beginning of last Lila, where Krishna plays his flute, and all the gopis not worrying about who will say what. So somebody was cooking chapati on the stove, left it there. Somebody was breastfeeding their child, left him there. Somebody was massaging the feet of a mother-in-law, left her there. Some people were there with their husband, left him there. Somebody was milking cows, left him there. No matter what they were doing, this ran. No time for makeup, nothing. As they were, this ran. They didn't care who will say what. People will say, oh, Kalankini, she's leaving her husband's house in the middle of the night to meet another man. I said, you want to say that? Go ahead, say it. So we'll transgress whatever rules, whatever laws are there for the sake of pleasing Krishna. Okay, now the references to this particular verse in chapter 5, we beautiful sarcastic verse, very sarcastic. It's saying that don't go the bank of Yamuna. If you go, you see this beautiful boy, Govinda, standing there playing his flute. And when you listen to that flute, you forget about your material friends, forget about material society, you forget about the material friendships, and you'll just only be attracted to him. So unless you want to leave everything you have, don't go there. But hang on to all the material things you have, money, friends, relatives, don't go there because you lose them all. What a wonderful sarcastic verse that is. Okay. Next paragraph.
I can read it, Prabhuji.
Oh, please go ahead, Gautam.
By leaving home in that way, the gopis transgressed the Vedic regulations of household life. This indicates that when natural feelings of love for Krishna becomes fully manifest, a devotee can neglect conventional social rules and regulations. In the material world, we are situated in designated positions only, but pure devotional service begins when one is freed from all designations. When love for Krishna is awakened, the designative positions are overcome. The spontaneous attraction of Sri Krishna
Hold on. Let's discuss the paragraph first. Okay. So, there is a verse that we have discussed for those of you who took the Nectar of Devotion classes. It says, Sarvopati vinirmuktam tat paratve nirmalam. Rishike sevanam bhakti uchyate. So, saying the beginning of devotion service is to give up all our designations. What are designations? Any ideas? Give us some examples of designations that we have.
Male, female.
Correct.
I am
What else?
Indian.
I'm sorry?
No, I am a professor, I am a lecturer, this.
Yeah. Indian, American, Canadian, all those kinds. But they all relate to the body. Because soul is not male, female, body is male, female. Soul is not American, Indian, body is American, Indian.
Body.
Right? Soul is not doctor or whatever engineer, body is. So all those designations refer to the body. So beginning of bhakti means give up the body. Not give up anything related to the body. So designations are related to the body, give them up. In other words, understand you're not this body. As long as we understand we are this body, we cannot do pure devotional service. Does everybody agree with that? As long as we think we are this body, we cannot do pure devotional service. Okay?
Yeah.
Vaidhi Bhakti, in order to get to the point where we say, no, we are not this body. And that is why after Arjuna was finished talking, and he said, okay, I surrender, tell me, what's the first thing Krishna tells Arjuna? Very first concept introduced in Bhagavad Gita. Was the very first concept introduced by Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita.
He talks about soul.
I'm
You're
sorry?
not the body.
He talks
Yes,
about
we're not the
soul.
body, spirit, soul. Dehno asmin jatha deha kavaram yonam jara. Right? So that's because unless you understand that point, you not understand the rest of the Gita. The rest of the Gita will not make sense. We have to understand we have this body. So we have this spirit soul. So same thing here. Unless we give up these designations that with this body, we cannot get to the point of understanding the pastimes of Lord Krishna. Because bhakti starts from giving up those designations. Okay? And then the point is that in order to get, so only when actually they go together. As we try harder and harder to give up the designations, the love for Krishna starts to increase. When we get full love of Krishna, then bodily concept automatically goes away, because then we know Jiva Swarupa Krishna and Nityadas, that we are the eternal servant of Krishna, we are spirit body, spirit soul, and therefore we just love Krishna and we serve Krishna. Okay. Next paragraph.
I can read through.
Please go ahead.
The spontaneous attraction of Sri Krishna for his dearest parts and parcels generates an enthusiasm that obliges Sri Krishna and the gopis to meet together. To celebrate this transcendental enthusiasm, there is need for a sentiment of separation between the lover and beloved. In the condition of material tribulation, no one wants the pangs of separation. But in the transcendental form, the very same separation, being absolute in its nature, strengthens the ties of love and enhances the desire of the lover and the beloved to meet. The period of separation, evaluated transcendentally, is more relishable than the actual meeting, which lacks the feelings of increasing anticipation because the lover and beloved are both present.
Jai. So now this Vipalamba Bhav is being explained here. Everybody knows what Vipalamba Bhav is?
Separation?
Yeah, mood of separation is called Vipalamba Bhav. So when there's spontaneous attraction, what does the word spontaneous mean, by the way? Spontaneous attraction.
Like just immediate, just by looking.
Okay, but it's more than that. It's more than that. What is
It's not
spontaneous attraction?
it's not self-generated.
Say again?
It's not self-generated. Like
Then
we
how's
didn't
it
do
generated?
anything.
Then
It
how's it
just appears on its own.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, it's from the heart.
Heart.
You don't have to make an effort to feel that attraction. You don't have to say, oh, so beautiful, therefore I'm attracted. You don't need external stimulus. It's there. It's like mother loves her child, no matter how ugly the child is. There's an expression, a very nasty expression, but says that that child is so ugly that only his mother can love him. But the point is that, yeah, mother can love even the ugliest child because the spontaneous love is there. So same thing is being talked about. The pure devotees have spontaneous attraction from the heart for Krishna. What about us? What's the definition of the attraction we have for Krishna, if we have it? If and when we are attracted to Krishna, what is the nature of that attraction? What is it based on?
We want something from him.
Exactly. We want something. Or we appreciate something he has. For example, he has the power, he has the beauty, he has the opulence. So we're attracted to that. He's strong, so we're attracted to that. Okay, so that's not spontaneous. Similarly, we're doing also Vaidhi Bhakti to get to that point of spontaneous attraction. But dil se nikle. Not zuban se, not from the tongue, from the heart. Okay, so that spontaneous attraction creates an enthusiasm that obliges Krishna and the gopis to meet together. So they love meeting each other. However, if you're always meeting, then after a while, it can become, some complacency can come. It doesn't have to be reduced, but some complacency can come, taken for granted and all sorts of things. But when there's some separation, then the desire to meet again becomes stronger. However, in the material world, there's a limit. There's a saying in the material world that says, out of sight, out of
Mind.
mind. So, बहुत दिन दूर मत जाना. 2-4 दिन कोई बात नहीं. You go away for 3-4 months, the person may forget you. Right? But that doesn't happen in the spiritual world. Separation and in the material world, separation is painful. Why is it painful?
Perverted reflection of,
Sorry, Ruchira Mataji?
because it's again the perverted reflection of everything in the spiritual world.
I know, but I'm talking about more physical reason. Like, why separation?
Is it because it's at the bodily level?
Okay, a little bit more than that. Same.
It's because the other person can't fulfill our desires anymore.
Correct.
They're gone.
Correct. So I'm not getting my pleasure anymore. In the material, it's all about my pleasure. So it's painful, the other person is not here. In the spiritual world, the pleasure you get from separation is higher than the pleasure you get in the union. And that is why when Krishna disappeared from the Ras Lila, and at the end of all the pastimes, they sat on the bank of river Yamuna, they sang the Gopi Geet, they were all crying. Then Krishna finally appeared. And they chastised him like anything. But finally, what did he say? That, my dear gopis, the only reason I disappeared from your vision was that I wanted to increase your attraction for me. When you don't see me, you want to see me more. Your love increases, your pleasure increases. That's what I was doing. And even the crying is giving them pleasure. So let's talk about how much they were crying. When Krishna sent Uddhavji, or in Braj Bhasha they say Uddhav, to Vrindavan to meet the gopis, he said, please make sure you see my parents also. And Uddhavji asked the question, my dear Krishna, how do I know which is the house of your parents? And he said, look for 2 rivers coming out of a house. And that would be my parents' house.
Because
Uddhavji didn't understand what that meant. But when they saw, they were crying so much, the rivers of water, tears coming out of the eyes. And outside looked like 2 rivers flowing like a river. Okay. So that is the true love. This is in the transcendental form, the very same separation, being absolute in its nature, strengthens the ties. So love becomes stronger, not weaker. You watch in the movies, lover goes away and the girl finds another lover because, hey, how long do I wait? Or they show the girl or the boy gets married to somebody else because, okay, I waited long enough. But not in the spiritual world. It says the period of separation evaluated transcendentally is more relishable than actual meeting. It lacks the feelings of increasing anticipation because love and beloved are together. So there's no anticipation. Once you're together, there's no anticipation. You separate this anticipation of meeting, anticipation of loving, anticipation of relishing, anticipation of enjoying or giving pleasure. All that anticipation are gone when you're meeting. Right? Totally different way of thinking. Like if we turn ourselves upside down, then we become right side. Right now we're upside down. Turn ourselves upside down, then we become right side up. So please don't try to stand on your head, but it's figuratively speaking. Okay, everybody with me? If I'm losing you, raise your hand.
Guruji, can I just share this one thing?
Sure.
Along the same lines, I was listening to a lecture this morning and they were talking about this particular bhav, but he didn't mention it as Parkiya or Vipralamba bhav. He mentioned it as something else. And he was saying that bhav is so strong that a person can't survive in this mood, we were talking about how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu takes on the golden form because Radharani is like, you can't withstand this separation because, and they were giving, so he was saying, there was an instance of a very pure devotee who, for an instance, developed this bhav and his body just exploded. He goes, because it's so strong and your body just can't tolerate it at all.
Correct.
Like we can't even imagine what that feels like.
Correct. We have no idea. We absolutely no idea.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. 32. Oh, there you go. That's the what I was talking about earlier. Ei sab rasanerias karib aswad, ei dware karib sab bhaktere prasad. We're saying I shall taste the essence of all these rasas. And in this way I shall favor all the devotees. So another reason for Krishna coming is I want to taste that. And I want the devotees to taste that. So he's saying, I won't do that, and I want to favor my devotees by helping them taste that mellow. Okay? 33. Brajer nirmala rav shuni bhaktagan rag marge bhaje jain chari dharma karma. Then, by hearing about the pure love of the residents of Braja, devotees will worship me on the path of spontaneous love, abandoning all rituals of religiosity and fruitive activity. So, karma chodo, dharma chodo. Dharma, kama, and moksha. Kama, moksha, forget it. So, saying that by hearing about my pastimes with the gopis, their pure love for me, other devotees will develop the same level of pure love, spontaneous love for me. And then they also forget all the rules and regulations. So that's why rules and regulations apply only when we're doing Vaidhi Bhakti. After that, they don't apply anymore. So you put your hand in your pocket, take out some cashews and put it in Krishna's mouth. Hey, you eat it. No mudda, no mantra, nothing. Just feed him. Put him on your lap and say, no, you have to eat. You have to eat. If he doesn't eat, you start crying. It says, okay, I'll eat. Physically, the deity eats. Stories like that. Okay, let's do the first paragraph of the purport.
Guruji, I have a question.
Okay.
In last class, we said that there's nothing that we can do to get pure love of Krishna. Like we do Vaidhi Bhakti, but that's all we do. But where Vaidhi Bhakti takes you is not under your control. It's not like, okay, I'll just do this, I'll do this, and I'll get Bhakti.
So you can't demand, you can't demand for devotional service.
You can't demand it, no.
Yeah.
So, so if you're given this Bhakti Lata Bij, if you're given the seed of devotion, all you can do is just water it and nurture it, but you can't predict how it's going to grow or what it's going to bear.
Correct. That's the mercy of the Guru and Krishna and the devotees. That's correct. So that's why they say watering process is hearing and chanting. And the second thing, you need sunshine. You need a devotee association. Right? So devotee association, the sunshine, and the hearing and chanting is the watering process. But you need something more than that, right? You need to keep the intruders away. So what are the intruders? It's
Offenses.
Offenses. So to avoid that. And then weeds come in. Right? So what are the weeds? Weeds are like Jeev Hinsa. So not just killing, but also harsh words, criticizing, and all those kinds of things. Right? Desire for pratishtha. Honor me, adore me, those kind of things. Right? So anarthas, they are another kind of so weeds have to be avoided as well. They have to pull them out. And then you have a chance. But still you're dependent upon the mercy of the Lord or the Lord's devotees. Yeah, you can't do any process, including devotional service, and demand pure love. That doesn't work.
Or even expect it.
Or even expect. I mean, nobody can stop you from expecting it, but you won't get it. Right? Yeah. There's no such thing. His checklist, I tick mark every item. Now give me pure love. So it doesn't work.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So who wants to read the first paragraph of the purport? Gayatri, you
Hare
haven't read.
Krishna Prabhu, I can read.
Oh, please go ahead. Yeah. Preeti, go ahead.
Many realized souls, such as Raghunatha Dasa Goswami and King Kulashekara, have recommended with great emphasis that one develop this spontaneous love of Godhead, even at the risk of transgressing all the traditional codes of morality and religiosity. Sri Raghunatha Dasa Goswami, one of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavana, has written in his prayers called the Manas Shiksha that one should simply worship Radha and Krishna with all attention. Na dharmam, na dharmam, na dharmam, na dharmam, shruti gana niruptam kila kuru. One should not be much interested in performing Vedic rituals or simply following rules and regulations.
Correct. Thank you. So we all know Ravdatas Goswami and King Kulashekara, right? Pure devotees. And they're basically saying that one should develop the spontaneous love of Godhead, even at the risk of transgressing all the codes of morality and religiosity. So it just doesn't matter. Once you have spontaneous love, you don't care about this. And to get there, Radha Goswami is recommending that one should simply worship Radha and Krishna with all attention and then beg for their mercy to give the devotee the love of Krishna. And the other point being made is that sometimes people become what they call lakir ka fakir, which basically means that you do the rituals for the sake of doing rituals. It's no use doing any ritual that does not increase your love for Krishna. What's that verse in Bhagavatam? First canto, chapter 2. Nautpaded yadiratim shameva kevalam. It says that whatever you're doing, if it's not resulting in love of Krishna, then it's useless labor. It's simply useless labor. Why bother with all? You can read all the Vedas and other scriptures and memorize them all, but that's not bringing you love of Krishna. Then what's the use? You're simply doing it for your pratishtha. You want to be honored, you want to be adored. Oh my God, look at him. He knows all the verses. But what good is that?
In the Nectar of Instructions, Rupa Goswami says that it actually kills
That's
if you
right.
follow rules and regulation without the purpose of spiritual advancement.
Correct. I think that's number 4, isn't it? Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Okay. Second paragraph, don't bother reading the Sanskrit verse, just read the translation. Somebody, please.
I can read.
Please go ahead. Yeah.
Go,
Go ahead.
Or did you
Prabhuji,
already
go.
read?
Prabhuji or I?
No, did you already read?
Not reading.
Okay. So either way, doesn't matter then. Prabhuji,
Okay, I
mentioned
can
for me.
read.
Okay.
I have no attraction I have no attraction for performing religious rituals or holding any earthly kingdom. I do not care for sense enjoyment. Let them appear and disappear in accordance with my previous deeds. My only desire is to be fixed in devotion service to the lotus feet of Lord. Even though I may continue to take birth here, life after life.
Now, this is an amazing, amazing, amazing verse. Look at every word here. It's so full of meaning.
Yep.
And dripping with pure love of Krishna. So his first thing saying is, I have no attraction for any religious rituals or having my own kingdom to rule. That's just immaterial. I don't care for sense enjoyment. Then how wise is it? Let them appear and disappear in accordance with my previous deeds. According to my karma, they'll appear and disappear. I don't care. Let them come, then they'll go. I don't care. What do I care for? I just want to be fixed in devotional service to the lotus feet of the Lord. And by doing that, if I have to come back again and again and again and again in this material world, I don't care. Same thing as Lord Chaitanya said. Where did Lord Chaitanya say the same thing? Who knows? Life after life, let me do pure devotional service. Where did Lord Chaitanya say that?
Then say na dhanam, na janam, na
Yeah.
sundarim.
And offenses.
Number 4, go ahead. Na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, kavita va jagdish kamaye. Mam janmani janmanishwar bhaktat, bhaktir ahayatu. All I want is just life after life. He's not looking for liberation. He's not saying, take me to Golok Vrindavan. He says, no, keep sending me back. But every time I come, please let me do pure devotional service. Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, I don't want to become Brahma if I'm going to be Bahirmukh, if I'm going to be turning away from you, Krishna. Make me a little insect in the house of a devotee, at least I can hear the chanting. That's Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And that's the mood of a pure devotee. Let me serve you somehow. Rest is totally immaterial. And that's the mood of the gopis. Let me serve you. I don't care what anybody says. Okay, 34.
Can I read, Prabhu?
You need the verse? Okay, go ahead.
Oh, you want to read the verse? It's okay. You can read it. I can read it.
Anugrahaya bhaktanam manusham deham ashitaha bhajate tadrishim krida ya shrutva tatparo bhavet. Krishna manifests his eternal human-like form and performs his pastimes to show mercy to the devotees. Having heard such pastimes, one should engage in the service to him. So he's giving another reason why Krishna comes as a human being, in the form of a human being, and do his pastimes, to show mercy to the devotees. Because once the devotees hear these pastimes, they will engage in the service to Krishna. Okay, purport.
This text is from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:33.36. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has innumerable expansions of his transcendental form, who eternally exist in the spiritual world. This material world is only a perverted reflection of the spiritual world, where everything is manifested without invariety. There, everything is in its original existence, free from domination of time. Time cannot deteriorate or interfere with the conditions in the spiritual world, where different manifestations of Supreme Personality of Godhead are the recipients of worship of different living entities in their constitutional spiritual positions. In this spiritual world, all existence is unadulterated goodness. The goodness found in the material world is contaminated by the modes of passion and ignorance.
Thank you. Okay, so basically the point being made is that Krishna can come in any kind of avatar. They already exist in the spiritual world in different planets, the spiritual planets, and they come here in different moods and perform different kinds of pastimes to attract people in different modes of material nature. So, for example, Lord Nrsimhadev, Krishna appears Lord Nrsimhadev in a very angry mood where he's basically battling and killing. So, who would that be attractive to?
Fighters, soldiers.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Lord Ram comes as an ideal human being. Who is that attractive to? People who like regulations, rules. People who like maryada, traditions. People who like to abide by duty. If Krishna comes in and does all his things in Vrindavan, who does he attract? What type of people?
Naughty kids.
I'm sorry?
Naughty kids.
Naughty kids, absolutely, yes. Who else?
Cowherd boys. Cowherd
boys, okay,
boys.
yeah. Who else?
I think people who want to do bad things,
Okay, explain that one.
you know, they want to do like Ras Lila because they're like, oh, see, Krishna can do it, so I can do it. They want to do all these kind of bad things, and they want to say, well, if Krishna can do it, why can't I do it?
Yeah, so I wouldn't call that attraction. I'd call that an excuse to do the bad things. They're not attracted to
Yes.
Krishna.
You're right. Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
But the point is valid. I agree. But my point is that, you know, it's like the 6 opulences of Krishna. What are the 6 opulences? Number 1?
Full wealth,
Sorry.
wealth, knowledge, power, beauty, realization, and one more.
Knowledge.
When?
Yeah.
Okay, so if somebody had just one of those in big amount, people will become attracted. Somebody's very powerful, a lot of people get attracted to that. Somebody's very beautiful, a lot of people get attracted to that. Somebody's very famous, people get attracted to that, so on and so forth. But imagine one person having all those 6.
He is God.
That would be. How attractive that would be to people, right? So Krishna's coming, so attract all these people. So the point is that what's the word expression? Basically, something for people of different taste or every taste. Krishna can provide. And so just to attract all the people. Okay. All right, let's do the next paragraph.
Different strokes for different folks.
Yeah, that's the one I was looking for. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, next paragraph.
Somebody reading, otherwise I can continue.
I can read it, Shwetaji.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
The saying that the human form of life is the best position for the devotional service has its special significance because only in this form can a living entity revive the eternal relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The human form is considered the highest state in the cycle of the species of life in the material world. If one takes advantage of this highest kind of material form, one can regain his position of devotional service to the Lord.
Yeah. So what's the difference between a human being and non-human being, like animals, for example, or insects or whatever?
Human beings have intelligence, Prabhuji.
Intelligence for what?
To go back to Godhead.
Okay.
To meditate on the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Okay. Yeah.
If to use it properly.
Yes. Yes. Okay. What else?
To differentiate what is right and what is wrong.
Correct. Yeah.
Then to know the reason of the life, why we are here, the purpose
Okay.
of
Purpose of life. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Very important. What else?
To not give into their nature.
Sorry, say again.
To not give into like everything in their nature. Like if your nature is demonic, you don't give into everything demonic. Like,
Well,
I don't know if that makes sense.
Some people do though. Right? Some people do give into their demonic nature and do all sorts of abominable things.
But you have the ability to control it.
Okay, some people can control it. Yes. Yes. Okay, so the point is the highest form of any other species because the consciousness is so well developed.
Yep.
And it allows you to do things like establishing or reviving your eternal relationship with Krishna that you cannot do in other forms. So therefore, if one takes advantage of this form of human body, then they can regain the position of devotional service to the Lord. Okay, next paragraph.
I can read.
Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead, Prabhu.
Thank you. Incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead appear in all the species of life. Although this is inconceivable to the human brain, the Lord's pastimes are differentiated according to the appreciating capacity of the different types of bodies of the living entities. The Supreme Lord bestows the most merciful benediction upon human society when he appears in his human form. It is then that humanity gets the opportunity to engage in different kinds of eternal service to the Lord.
Right. So it goes with the previous paragraph. Only as human beings are we able to appreciate what the Lord is doing. And when the Lord appears as a human being or human form, that was easier to relate to. When he appears as a fish, as a tortoise, as a swan, as a half lion, half man, half horse, half man, it's very difficult to relate to that. When he's there, 2 arms and 2 legs and normal human-like face and all that, it's easy to relate. And then we can establish that relationship is required to engage in the service to the Lord. Okay, who wants to read the next paragraph? Somebody's not read it yet?
I can read, Prabhuji.
Go ahead.
It's from here, right? Spatial natural appreciation.
Correct.
Spatial natural appreciation of the descriptions of a particular pastime of Godhead indicates the constitutional position of a living entity. Adoration, servitorship, friendship, parental affection, and conjugal love are the 5 primary relationships with Krishna. The highest perfectional stage of the conjugal relationship, enriched by many sentiments, gives the maximum relishable mellow to the devotee.
Right. So basically, the 5 mellows are being mentioned here: Shantaras, Dasaras, Sakhiras, Vatsalas, and Madhuras. And the thing that we have to remember is that as we progress, it contains the qualities of the previous one. So servitorship has the servitorship plus adoration. Friendship has servitorship and adoration along with friendship. So all the way to conjugal love, it has all the other 4 and the conjugal love for Krishna. So therefore, conjugal is the highest because it contains everything. Also, the feelings are different. There's a little more informality there, things like that. The nature of love is different. It's on the conjugal mode as opposed to parental or friendship mode. But because it contains all of them, it is enriched by many different kind of sentiments. And therefore, it becomes the most relishable mellow to the devotee as well as to Lord Krishna. And that's why it's called conjugal mellow is the highest mellow. Okay, next paragraph, please.
Yeah, I can read.
Go
The Lord
ahead.
appears, I can read. The Lord appears in different incarnations as a fish, tortoise, or boar, as Parashurama, Lord Rama, Buddha, and so on, to reciprocate the different appreciations of living entities in different stages of evolution. The conjugal relationship of amorous love, called Prakya Rasa, is unparalleled perfection of love exhibited by Lord Krishna and his devotees.
Okay, thank you. So again, the point being made here is that he appears in different incarnations, in different forms. Again, to reciprocate the different appreciation of the living entities in different stages of evolution. So it's not just human, but also all non-human also. But the conjugal relationship of amorous love called Parkiya Ras is unparalleled in terms of perfection of love exhibited by Lord Krishna and his devotees. There's nothing higher than that, as we know from the discussion between Ramananda Roy and Lord Chaitanya. Okay, let's do the next paragraph.
Can I start the second round, Prabhuji?
If is there anybody who has not read it at all today?
I have not read.
Go ahead, Mr. Mataji, go ahead.
A class of so-called devotees known as Sahajyas try to imitate the Lord's pastimes, although they have no understanding of the amorous love in his expansions of pleasure potency. Their superficial imitation can create havoc on the path for the advancement of one's spiritual relationship with the Lord. Material sexual indulgence can never be equated with spiritual love, which is in unadulterated goodness. The activities of the Sahajyas simply lower one deeper into the material contamination of the senses and the mind. Krishna's transcendental pastimes display eternal servitorship to Adhokshaja, the Supreme Lord, who is beyond all conception through material senses. Materialistic conditioned souls do not understand the transcendental exchanges of love, but they like to indulge in sense gratification in the name of devotional service. The activities of the Supreme Lord can never be understood by irresponsible persons who think the pastimes of Radha and Krishna to be ordinary affairs. The Rasa dance is arranged by Krishna's internal potency Yogamaya, and it is beyond the grasp of the materially affected person. Trying to throw mud into transcendence with their perversity, the Sahajiyas misinterpret the sayings Tat Parat Vena Nirmalam and Tat Paro Bhavet. By misinterpreting Tadarshi they want to indulge in sex while pretending to imitate Lord Krishna. But one must actually understand the import of the words through the intelligence of the authorized Goswamis. Srila Narottam Das Thakur, in his prayers to the Goswamis, has explained his inability to understand such spiritual affairs.
So, again, now Prabhupada is talking about this group called Sahajiyas. They are known for imitating Krishna's pastimes, not following the footsteps of, imitating. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, I think, text 9, Janma Karma Me Divyam, Ema Yovet Tattva. My activities and my appearance are transcendental. So, if we try to use our material senses to understand the activities of Krishna, we are bound to misunderstand. The word transcendental, by its very definition, implies that we're not going to be able to understand it using our material senses. It's beyond anything material. That's what transcendental means, transcending anything material. And therefore, the Sahajiyas, using their material brain and their material tendency to enjoy their own senses, literally cause perversion of whatever purity Krishna brings to this material world. And in the process, not only do they not get pure devotional service, they actually go to the darkest region of hell because they're doing illicit activities in the name of Krishna, which increases the potency of their offenses. That's very, very punishable to them. Indulging in the sense gratification in the name of devotional service is a horrible thing. It's just like they say, making money from narrating Srimad Bhagavatam, making money from reading Gita to the public. That's all big offenses. And that is why we often hear about these so-called big speakers, Bhagavatam and others, who end up in jail after a while. Because they simply try to make money from reading Srimad Bhagavatam, narrating Srimad Bhagavatam. And that's a big offense. Sooner or later, you're going to get punished. And therefore, these people don't understand what the purification of senses means. What it means to say, we do that kind of sports. It doesn't mean you start doing what Krishna is doing. It just means you follow the footsteps of to understand the principles of what he's doing. And you reciprocate in that way. But all that is very, very difficult to understand. And then now I'm going to read the verse that Narottam Das Thakur has written in his prayer to the Goswamis. He says, Rupa Raghunatha Pade Hoibe Akuti Kabe Hama Bhujibo Se Yugale Pirati. So somebody read the purport and I'll explain that.
I can read it.
Please go ahead.
When I shall be eager to understand the literature given by the Goswamis, then I shall be able to understand the transcendental love affairs of Radha and Krishna. In other words, unless one is trained under the disciplic succession of the Goswamis, one cannot understand Radha and Krishna. The conditioned soul are naturally averse to understanding the spiritual existence of the Lord. And if they try to know the transcendental nature of the Lord's pastime while they remain absorbed in materialism, they are sure to blunder like the Sahajiya.
Right. So this is why two things are always mentioned in our movement. One is we have to be in the disciplic succession, and we have to receive the mercy and the blessings of the senior devotees. So that's one point. The second point is that we always talk about the consciousness. If our consciousness remains absorbed in material things, then we are bound to misunderstand the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. And if we misunderstand them, then we're going to misinterpret them, then we're going to do things that are based on incorrect assumptions, incorrect interpretation of their relationship and of their activities together. So, in order for us to not that mistake, Narottam Das Thakur was love personified. And he's writing that only after I am eager to understand the literature written by Rupa Goswami, Das Goswami, and other Goswamis, then and then only I may be able to understand the loving affairs of Radha Krishna. Otherwise, we can't. In other words, we have to take the shelter of the senior devotees, our acharyas in this succession, for us to understand. Otherwise, we cannot understand. So when we try to do this independently, we become sahajiyas. Misinterpret, misbehave. Whereas we take the shelter of the Goswamis, other acharyas, and get their blessings, then we interpret correctly and then behave correctly, which is serving them for the pleasure of Radha and Krishna. Okay. So I'm going to stop here. It's 9:30. Are there any questions or comments before we wrap up?
So, Prabhu, I have a question.
Go ahead.
So you mentioned that attraction happens through devotional service for Krishna as we serve more. But does that start initially out of fear that we start serving Krishna? Because, in the material world, we always think that, okay, if I don't serve or if I don't chant my rounds, then, I may attract more karmas or something wrong will happen. So then eventually, as we keep doing it, then will the attraction develop that way, or is it just spontaneous and it happens on its own?
Yeah, so we discussed this point a little bit earlier also. Let me elaborate. The Shikshastrakam verse number 1, Lord Chaitanya says, Cheto Darpan Majanam, which says that Param Bhujate Shikar Sankirtana, which says that as we chant the holy name of the Lord, our consciousness starts to become cleansed. It's a long process, but it starts to happen. If we keep doing it, and we have the mood after Radha Sunicha and Tarori was Hashtana, and the desire to do Bhakti Rahat Kitvai, the desire to become the particle on the lotus feet of the Lord, then we can start develop some feelings for Krishna. However, those feelings will remain feelings unless, in addition to our effort, we also receive the mercy of the Lord or the Lord's devotees. So what's in our control is simply how much we endeavor. But in order to get the love of Krishna, in order to get Krishna in our control, we need the other side of it, which is mercy of the Lord and the Lord's devotee. So therefore, as I was saying before, we cannot demand it. You can be chanting 64 rounds a day. You'll be chanting 192 rounds a day. You can't demand that because I'm doing all that, now you give me love. It doesn't work. So that's why we have to constantly be surrendered to senior devotees. We have to follow in the footsteps, take shelter of their lotus feet, and in that shelter continue to our endeavors of hearing and chanting, and then hope for the best. But at no point in time are we in a position to demand, now I've done enough now, give me love. So that comes from Krishna's mercy, devotee's mercy. In the meantime, we simply continue to endeavor with as much pure-heartedness as possible. And if you're chanting sincerely without the offenses, keeping the weeds out, then purity will increase. And one day, if everything is okay, you get the mercy of the Lord and God's devotees, you'll get love. But remember, the love is already there. We're not talking about establishing it. We're not talking about buying it. We're not talking about getting it. We're talking about rekindling it. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prem Sadhya Kabhu Noy. Shravan Adi Shuddhi Chitte Karay Uday. Saying that the ever-existing, eternally existing love of Krishna is not obtainable by any means. You cannot do some kind of sadhana and say, okay, this will get me. Only if you do Shravan, Kirtan, hearing and chanting with a pure heart, then it will be rekindled. But pure heart means, that's just a purity by yourself, but also by the mercy of the Lord and the Lord's devotees. So it's a very complex, very complicated, difficult process. But the point is, if you don't start anywhere, you never get there. The most difficult journey has to start with the first step. Okay, so again, ours is to endeavor, his is to give. So we endeavor and we pray, and then let Krishna decide. Okay,
There is a bit of a perversion, if we perform devotion with an expectation to get devotion.
Correct. You won't
right? So that's perverted. So
Correct. Absolutely right.
we just have to perform it because that's what makes Krishna happy.
That's why it's called causeless bhakti.
Yes.
If we want to serve, say, that's how I go to Golok Vrindavan, it's not causeless anymore.
But so many people say that, Babuji.
They can say they
and they say that, we don't want to be born again. Let's make sure that this is our last birth.
Once again, it's the conditioning we have. Even those of us who've been serving for such a long time, chanting and all that, we're still driven by our self-gratification.
Yes.
I don't want to be born because I don't want the misery.
Yeah.
I don't want to be born because it's more fun and now I'll be with Krishna. I mean, it's great, but let Krishna give it to you rather than be demanding or expecting or doing this because we were expecting that. So yeah, sure. In the beginning, as Prabhuji was saying, that we do out of fear, we do for external reasons, the instructions of the Shastras or the Gurus, but eventually we hope that we'll get to the point of spontaneous love. But again, we can hope. We are ashabad. We can hope, but we cannot demand. Okay. I think Krishna Prabhu, you've been very patient with me. So please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, you've been very patient with all of us. You're trying to match up with your patience, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhan Pranam, Krishna Prabhupada.
Yeah, sure.
So, Prabhuji, just a very quick clarification. The desire to go back to Godhead, I mean, if that is motivated by thinking that actually this is what Krishna wants me to do. He didn't want me to come here. I came here out of obstinacy and my rebellion against Krishna. But now that I realize that this is not what Krishna wanted me to do. So if I want to please him, I need to go where he wants me to be. Is that kind of an okay way to think?
So there's many variations of the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
But the bottom line is, what's in your heart? Is it in your heart that you want to get out of here? Well, then that's personal. That's motivational. Motiveful. But if the desire is, Krishna, put me wherever I can serve you best, I'm okay with that. That's what Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying.
Right.
That's Thakur is saying. Then that's okay. But to say, let me come to Golok Vrindavan, and in the heart you're thinking, oh, I don't want to be here. Well, I'm sorry, that's motivated. That's not unmotivated. And that's not for the pleasure of Krishna. I'm looking for your pleasure. I want to please Krishna so I can be happy. Even that is not good. knowledge that if Krishna is pleased, I'll be pleased, is different from saying, I want to please Krishna so I can be happy. You see the subtle difference? In one, your desire is predominant for your satisfaction. In the other, desire to satisfy Krishna is predominant. And that's what distinction I'm trying to make. The desire to please Krishna has to be predominant, not desire to please yourself. Secondary or primary doesn't matter. But if you're just doing whatever you're doing, including pleasing Krishna because it will make you happy, that's not good. Well, not should say good, that's not top. The top is Krishna, period. Okay, so this is, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say the second part of my question was, you may have answered it already, was how do we serve the acharyas and the Goswamis? But I'll let you finish what you were saying, Professor.
No, I'll answer the question. But we serve the acharyas by following the instructions. As simple as that. Very simple. Whatever they have instructed us, if we follow that, we're serving. Same thing with senior devotees. When they come to Atlanta, if you sit down, listen to their classes, try to follow that, that's serving. You don't have to serve them prasadam to serve them. Just sit in their class, listen to their class, try to follow what they're saying, appreciate the instructions, and try to follow them. That's serving.
Right.
So it's what's in your heart. It's not what your tongue says. What's in your heart? What's the mood? What's the intent? If we all here, Krishna looks at your intent. What is the intent? Is ultimately trying to please yourself? Well, then it's not the same thing. You may be doing the same thing. You may be making garlands. You may be cleaning. You may be doing arti. Everybody says, oh, look at this devotee, is trying to please Krishna. But if you're doing all that with the intent to please yourself, well, I'm sorry, it's not the same thing.
Right.
And that's a subtle difference we all have to remember. What is our intent? That's what Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, make me an insect, I don't care. Right. Let me hear your name. Right? Somebody
as long as it's pleasing to Krishna, I'm willing to do whatever.
It doesn't matter what it is, it's pleasing to Krishna. And that's what I was going to say, that there are examples where Bhishma Pitama, for example, is shooting arrows at Krishna. In Bhagavatam, it says he shot an arrow that hit the arm of Krishna and actually caused bleeding. And Krishna was very happy. You can say, how can a pure devotee hurt Krishna with an arrow?
Yeah.
Well, the intent was to please Krishna, not to say, look at me, how great I am. And therefore, it was appreciated.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the point. What's the intent?
Wonderful. Thank you, bro. Nice.
Thank you, bro. Okay, it's 9:41, so we should start. And there's one last minute question. Anyone needs to go, that's fine. Okay. All right.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Oh, Hare Krishna.
Sorry. I had a question, just maybe a silly question, Prabhu. What you said, soul is not male or female.
I'm sorry, say again.
The soul is neither female or male.
Yes, correct.
So in Goloka Vrindavan, how is it then?
They get the spiritual body that's male or female.
Come again, Prabhu, I didn't get it.
The spiritual body they get in this spiritual world is male or female. The soul is not.
Okay.
So they have
because I was just wondering.
Yeah, this takes male form or female form, depending upon your own nature and what mood you want to serve Krishna.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu.
Sure, you're welcome. Okay. Thank you so much. Vansha kalpatarubhyascha
Prabhuji, safe travels.
Oh yeah, thank you. So
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for reminding me. Just so everybody knows, I'll be leaving for India on Monday and be back on March 22nd. So obviously there's no class that time, but hopefully when I come back, you'll still be there and you still want to join us. And it's not going to be out of sight, out of mind kind of thing. Okay, finished, torture finished. Now I can relax. Hopefully it won't be like that. It will all come back.
Prabhuji, rather than you have to take twice a week. coming back.
आधे लोग भाग जाएंगे वैसे ही.
Yeah.
Have a
No.
safe journey, Prabhuji. Safe
Thank
travel.
you. Thank you, Keshav Sevika.
Yeah.
Prabhuji, are you going to Vrindavan?
Yes, Mataji, I'll go to Vrindavan. Krishna will.
Oh, amazing. Okay, okay.
Oh, sure.
last time बहुत आनंद आया था इकट्ठे
Yes.
गए.
Yes.
वो-
Yeah. So the plan again is to go to Vrindavan, Mayapur, Jagannath Puri, Ayodhya.
Wow.
Wow.
How about Ayodhya, Prabhuji?
Huh?
Prabhuji, go to Ayodhya as well.
How about
Yeah, going.
Ayodhya?
Yeah, the plan is there.
That's
Ayodhya,
good.
go to all those places.
Ayodhya and what, Prabhuji?
Chitrakoot, the Naimisharanya.
Okay, Chitrakoot, Naimisharanya. Okay,
चित्रकूट
okay.
नियर चित्रकूट अयोध्या के पास ही है चित्रकूट.
Yeah. So if Krishna allows me, that's the plan. We'll see.
All the
So
best,
I need all
Prabhuji.
you to bless me and pray
All
for
the
me.
best. All the best for
Thank
your
you,
safe
Prabhuji.
journey.
Prabhuji, pray for us also.
Thank you so much.
Have a safe journey.
Yes.
Prabhu.
Thank you. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna.
Prabhuji. Have a safe
Yes.
journey.
Hare
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Don't
See you.
forget to send the picture.
Oh, yes, of course. See you all in April.
Don't forget to
Yes.
keep me in your mind.
Of course.
Pray for us, Prabhuji.
Yes,
सबको
Prabhuji,
mind
pray
में
for us.
सबको
I
mind
will.
में बिठा लेना.
Hare Krishna. Hare
Take
Krishna.
care, Prabhu.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna.
Prabhuji. Thank you
Hare
so much.
Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.